so there you are. My information was indeed correct. Why the look of surprise? Surely, you should have been expecting one such as me to seek you out eventually. As you well know, there is a bounty on your head, and I am here to collect it. No, do not attempt to stall by playing the innocent victim. I will have none of it. Ready your weapon, if you will. Defend yourself. Damn! I cannot defeat you. Curse my weary body to the hells of Oblivion. Once, there was a time where none could stand before me, and my name was famous throughout the lands. Once, I was a hero. I was unequaled, undefeatable, unstoppable. Now, though, now I am nothing but an old man unable to even claim a single bounty. In truth, there is no bounty upon your head for me to collect. That was merely a deception on my part. No, I challenged you simply because of the fact that I've heard of your great reputation, and wanted to compare myself to you. As I said before, once I was a legendary hero of seemingly unstoppable power. My foes fell before me like wheat to the farmer's scythe. I saved Tamriel on a number of occasions. I was ordained a champion by the lords of the different towns. Yet now I have fallen victim to the curse of time, and have grown old and weak. I have become pitiful. I was Sir Edward Pellew, once a champion of Tamriel and slayer of the great fiend Curl. Now, though, I am merely an old man who shares a name with a heroic character from children's stories. Broken and destroyed by the curse of time, and weathered like a rock in the sea, into the wreck you see before you now. Yet as I remember it, even at the height of my power, I still could not even have come close to what you are now. By comparison, I was nothing, and yet at the time I was everything. Yet, how is it possible? How is it that any one creature should grow so powerful amongst all of those striving to achieve that goal? Why is it that earls, counts, lords, and kings listen when you speak and heed your words as if they were instructions? Why is it that all of Tamriel could be yours if you so chose it to be? Have you ever considered this? Have you ever wondered how it is that you have gained this unforetold power? Or why, of all the thousands and thousands of creatures on Tamriel, it is you who have become so much more than what you started as? You haven't, have you? You have considered it, yet you have not solved the riddle that it poses, have you? Death follows you wherever it is that you go. I know this, as I've been keeping track of you for quite some time now. And yet, even as you wade through the masses of the dying, you think very little of how you achieved that end. You are merely an artist who specializes in death, preparing to paint his masterpiece. Indeed, greatness is a part of you. But what of your origins, hero? Where are you from? To what bloodline do you owe the blessing of your great abilities? Can you answer these questions? Then perhaps you should study the foundations, as you have already prepared the groundwork and are even now moving on to the parapets. Discover your roots so that you may better understand the gift that you have been given. Face your mortality before it comes to claim you, as it has come to claim me. Track down your ancestry before you proclaim yourself a hero. And now, do with me as you will. Thank you. Rest assured, you will not regret your decision.
Good day to you. I'm Phintius, the proprietor of the first edition. What can I do for you? Why, yes, I do, in fact, though I'm not too sure if it's exactly what you are after. It's a book on children's tales that feature Edward Pellew as the lead character. I can let you have it for a mere 50 gold. Very good, here is your book. If ever you need another book in the future, you know where to find it.
Yes, citizen. What is it that you want? By the nine hells. Why is it always when I'm off duty that the populace decides to bother me? Very well then. Give me a moment to see what information I can find on your relatives. Stay right here. I'll be back in a moment. What is it, citizen? Now this is indeed strange. So strange that I cannot recall ever having seen it before. Well, despite all the information you have given me regarding your identification, I can find no trace of your ancestors in our record books. Rest assured, I have made no mistake. Yet while it is obvious that you exist, your ancestry within the bounds of Imperial Dominion does not. Thus I am afraid that I can be of no real help to you. That means that either your ancestry is foreign to Tamriel, though from your appearance I very much doubt that to be the case. Or alternatively, as I said before, your ancestry lies somewhere outside of the bounds of Imperial Dominion. Likely in one of the remote areas in which we have not had the time to perform a census. The only thing that I can suggest would be to refer to any objects linking back to your ancestors, and look for a clue there. Since you are here asking me these questions, I'm going to assume that you are the only member of your family line alive at the moment. But perhaps there is some trinket, some family heirloom that will provide you with the information that you seek. Follow the clues that it provides, and you may yet find your identity. And now, if you don't mind, leave me alone so that I can make the most of my time off duty.
Surprised to see me? Well, you shouldn't be. Since you were so good as to spare my life, I have been watching out for you of late. I have noticed that you have encountered a problem in the search for your ancestry, and I believe that I may be able to provide the solution. I have a brief story to tell, if you don't mind. A story from my past, which will perhaps provide more weight than mere words possibly could. I once knew a Nord from one of the remote regions of Tamriel who was cursed with the same problem that you are. He could find no ties to his ancestry. He spent countless years searching and was met time and time again with dismal and complete failure. In short, he was just about out of options. Yet as it turned out, while taking to the bed with a lass he met in the local tavern, she pointed out to him a strange mark on the arch of his back. After a careful inspection, he realized that it was a scar caused by a signet ring, which had been burned into his skin by his parents years ago. Further study revealed that the mark was a telltale sign of his ancestors' noble lineage, and so at last, his search for who he was had ended. I'm sure that you can see the point I'm making. If that is what you want, I can do you this one last favor. Hold still. No doubt this will be awkward for both of us. Yes, here is something strange. This might be exactly what we are looking for. A series of scars on your right foot that seem to form several shapes. Well, I'm no expert in such things, yet I would guess that they are a strange form of the runic script, perhaps of the Marcomannic variety. I cannot tell you what they say, yet I will scribe them on a piece of parchment for you, and you can find someone to decipher them. It is done. Now perhaps you will have an answer to the question of your ancestry. At the very least, you will have another piece to the puzzle. I have heard tell of a professor of religious symbology that studies at the Arcane University in the Imperial City. Perhaps you should inquire there. And for now, farewell.
Yes? You want something of me? Ah, yes. What have we here? A variety of the Marco-Manic form of the runic alphabet, I'd say. Very rare nowadays, yet extremely common in years past. Where, pray tell, did you find this? Really? How very strange. I cannot even begin to imagine how you would have come by such a mark in this long forgotten script. The Marco-Manic alphabet is not complicated to translate, being comprised primarily of a variety of two of the more common runic scripts. Each of these symbols represents certain sounds in the Marco-Manic runic tongue, which translate to form words. Let me see. Ah, yes, a very simple word. It reads Ehothorn. I have no idea what that means, though. Perhaps it is a name of a person or a place. You are more than welcome. Any opportunity to demonstrate my knowledge of ancient scripts is a blessing to me. Take care.
Hello, Master Wizard. From where do you hail?
Back again, I see. And from the excited look on your face, I'd say that you've discovered a piece of information with ties to your ancestry. It's a good thing that I kept the registry book handy, as I anticipated your return. All right, then. Let's have it. What is the name? Ehothorn. Ehothorn. Now that is a name that I am sure I have heard before. Please allow me a moment to consult my records. Ehothorn. 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 Ah, here we are. Ehothorn. Ehothorn appears to be a family name of moderately noble ties who keep their estate on the outskirts of Cheydinhal. My records indicate that there is only one surviving record, a young woman by the name of Alicia Ehothorn. Her last known location is also reported to be Cheydinhal, and she is reported to be administering her family's estate. Is that everything that you needed to know? Well, at least now you know where to start looking. Now, if you don't mind, leave me alone to enjoy my break.
Good day to you, stranger. What'll your poison be? These days, it seems that the thirst for a cold beer is quickly drenched, yet those with a palate thirsty for information often go wanting. Tell me what you want to know, and I'll see if I can help. The Ehothorn family, eh? I'll never understand the sporadic interest that arises around that family every now and then. 1 minute folks like you, from the Imperial Registrar, are happy to pretend they don't exist within the bounds of Imperial dominion. The next, it seems that you can't get enough of them. Well, I don't know if I'll be able to answer all of your questions, but I'll see what I can do. Ah, a kind lass, but a recluse by nature. She keeps to herself most of the time, and though she is always polite, she seldom says much. She is a mage, reputed to be of no small talent, though I will admit that I am yet to see any true evidence of that. She bears a remarkable resemblance to her mother, who in turn resembled her mother. One of the traits of that family is that their features breed true. Other than that, I can't say much more that would be of any real help to you. Well, the family has been around the Cheydinhall area for centuries, yet they are decidedly unremarkable as far as noble families go. To my knowledge, they have never been involved in local scandals or gained fame through any of their actions. Yet strangely, there seems to only ever be 1 or 2 members of the family alive at any one time. And on top of that, only 1 member of the family is ever seen in public at any one time. Perhaps they are under an ancient curse or some such, as each of their family's members falls victim to some tragedy early in life. Another strange thing is the fact that the women of the line seem to be cursed to bear only daughters. In fact, I can't remember a time when a male occupied the Ehothorn estate. I hope that answers your questions. Not that I can think of, no. And there isn't anyone else around town, short of Alicia Ehothorn herself, who could tell you more about the family. But perhaps there is another alternative. Behind the Ehothorn estate is the entrance to the family crypt. At the crypt there is an inscription that tells of the various members of the Ehothorn family and a little about their exploits. Perhaps you can find what you seek there. Good luck with your search.
You? What are you doing here? How is it that you survived? I had thought you had died. I saw you die, and yet you are here. This is no time for games. You, of all people, should know that I have never been overly fond of them. You must tell me how it is that you survived. Nobody, not even one such as you, should have been able to survive that inferno. You are not. No, I see now that I was indeed mistaken. You are not who I thought you were, though the similarities are astonishing, to be sure. I do apologize for my rudeness. Be assured that I did not intend to offend you in such a way. A friend of mine, a friend who died a very, very long time ago. He was a great deal like you, in both appearance and in voice. Yet upon closer reflection, I see that you are not my friend. The revelation is somewhat distressing. Removing the veil from one's eyes and exposing the plain truth before them is often less satisfying than living the dream. He died in a most horrible manner. It is a topic I would prefer not to discuss. Suffice to say that his death was not earned. And I have mourned his loss ever since. In truth, I have been searching for him ever since his demise. I am the sort of creature that can only believe what my eyes show me. And as I never saw the remains of his battered body, my mind has always rejected his death. I think that I will perhaps search for him forevermore. Ah, yes. The bartender over at the Bridge Inn informed me of a stranger in Cheydinhal asking about me. From the look in your eyes, I imagine that you are not a member of the Imperial Registrar, so you must be here for reasons of your own. Perhaps you have come to realize that certain facts about the Ehothorn family do not add up. So tell me, stranger, have you learned the secret of the Ehothorn family? Go on. You are doing quite well so far. Congratulations, stranger. In next to no time, you have discovered what no one else has managed to. Yes, you are correct. I am the only Ehothorn, and in order to conceal my true age, I kill off my different personalities from time to time. That way, the folk of Cheydinhal do not become suspicious of the family, and I have a reason to remain out of the public eye. At any rate, now that you have this information, what are you planning to do with it? Perhaps you should tell me why you are here. I am pleased that you trusted me enough to tell me your tale. It is an intriguing tale, to say the least. I presume, then, that you are here because you are hoping that I may be able to provide some links to your ancestry. Well, at first thought, I can think of nothing that will be of any real use to you, and yet. And yet it seems to be too much of a coincidence that you just happen to share so many similarities with my deceased friend. Perhaps the runic markings on your body told you to seek me out because of that fact. Perhaps it is through learning more of my friend that you can learn more of yourself and your ancestry. What do you think? Indeed it is. Well, now that we both know one another's deadly little secret, perhaps we should make a pact. Let the two of us work together in order to find the answer to your ancestry. And in return, you will promise to keep what you know of the Ehothorn family a secret. So, what do you say? Do we have an accord? Excellent. Most excellent. I am indeed glad that we have come to an agreement. I foresee interesting times ahead of us, and the answers to all your questions will surely be revealed in due time. As to our next step, well, I have a good idea for our starting point. We should go to the place in which my friend perished, for if we will find a clue anywhere, it will be there. We will be headed to the burnt remains of our former estate, located in a place not too far from here. By all the fires in the abyss, at last I have found you. I had to come. The half-blood and the hunter are close to tracking you down. I just saw them in the village asking questions about you. They will be here soon. We need to leave now. Leave your work. We can come back later to collect it when we know that it is safe. Do not take the risk. You know that the half-blood has the means with which to destroy you. Come on, let's go. Are you all right? You seem to drift off there for a while, almost as if you were asleep. Well, if you say so. As I was saying, I have a horse at the local stable. We could head there to collect it, and then proceed on to the ruined estate. Are you ready to leave, or do you need a little time? Very well then, I'll lead the way, you follow, stay close to me, and if we are attacked, let us work together to stay alive. Let's get going. All right. We are at the gates to the city now. I'll mark our destination on your map. From here you can take the lead and I'll follow you. We need to head directly for the burnt remains of the house on the map.
Hurry up! I'm here to relieve you. It's about time.
Well, this is it. The charred remains of a place that I once called my home. The former Ehothorn Manor in all its blackened glory. I'm not exactly sure what it is that you expect to find here. Yet I cannot think of anywhere else that we might look. Yes, I am all right. Thank you for asking. My memories of this place, though pleasant at times, are overshadowed by the tragedy that befell here. It was here that I lost a friend who was very dear to my heart. Well, you see, my friend was a powerful individual, and as I'm sure you know, powerful creatures always seem to find powerful enemies. My friend had no shortage of enemies of that ilk, yet he cast them aside, as if they were nothing. He was confident, perhaps too confident. He thought himself unstoppable, and as it turns out, he was wrong. One of those enemies tracked him down to this place, and when my friend barricaded himself inside in an attempt to call forth his latent powers, his enemy set fire to the building and watched it, and my friend burned to the ground. I had left scarcely an hour before, hoping to intercept his enemies before they could make it to the estate, and serve as a distraction while my friend made good his escape. Yet, they easily outmaneuvered me and snuck by my flanks to make their move on my friend, while I was not around to aid him. I remember glancing back and seeing a column of thick, black, oily smoke rising high into the sky. I remember the feeling of absolute terror that gripped my heart as I realized what the smoke signified. I would prefer not to discuss it for the meantime, Perhaps at a later date. Very well. Just be careful. Though nothing lives here anymore, this place is not without its dangers.
Come on out and face your destiny. Don't you be hiding in there.
I apologize for shaking you, but I was concerned for your well-being. Your eyes were empty and glazed over, and your face was as ashes. For a moment I had thought that you had died right in front of me. And yet you are all right now, and bearing no trace of your brief illness. Pray tell, what ails you? A dream? Or a memory, perhaps? Maybe finding me is triggering certain forgotten memories within you. Perhaps that is why the scar on your foot bore my name. Perhaps it is through knowing me that you will know yourself. At any rate, we can discuss it later. For now, we should do what we came here to do and leave as soon as possible. We should search the buildings and try and find anything that might serve as a clue to your ancestry. I remember that book. It was the one that my friend was searching for when last I left the estate. It must be extremely important since he was willing to throw away his life in an attempt to find it. Had he left with me, he would probably be alive. Yet he stayed behind in order to find that book. The book is a translation for what is on that tablet, though from the looks of things I would say that the book is damaged beyond repair. The tablet was taken from a mine somewhere, though I cannot remember the precise location. Perhaps an archaeologist may be able to identify the mine from which the tablet is taken. Now that you mention it, I do know of a troop of archaeologists and historians who were passing through Cheydinhall recently. From what the bartender at the Bridge Inn told me, they were stopping by for supplies, en route to a newly discovered dig site elsewhere. If you were to show that tablet to the archaeologists, they might be able to identify where it came from. Quickly, lead us back to Cheydinhall. We need to speak to the archaeologists before they leave the city.
Have you been well recently? Your skin looks a bit...
Hail! I hope that you have a really, really good reason for disturbing me. One such as you cannot fathom the importance of my work, else you would not disrupt me from it by interrupting me. Can I look at it? Well, I can look at it to be sure. But will I look at it? That is another question entirely. Where did you get that tablet? Astounding. Absolutely astounding. Surely this has to be something more than a mere coincidence. And yet... this tablet you hold in your hand bears an inscription written in the same language as all objects excavated from the site we are traveling to now. It is an ancient and almost unknown language, with only a few articles bearing similar inscriptions in our possession at the moment. Surely it is a simple coincidence that another one emerges at this time. Of course I can't. We archaeologists cannot simply go around revealing the locations of various important dig sites to anyone who passes by. No, I'm afraid that telling you about the dig site is quite impossible. Well, that is unless... if you were to give me the tablet that you have there, I might be able to arrange for you to accompany our expedition as a civilian observer. Since you would be traveling with us, I doubt that you would be able to cause any harm to our excavation. So, there is the deal. Trade the tablet in your possession for the right to attend the dig with us. What do you say? Here, I'll mark where we will be traveling to on your map. We will be leaving within the hour, so make sure you are here, else we will leave you behind. I have no time to waste talking to you. If you have something to say, I suggest you address Bisarn.
Are you growing excited? We are slowly but surely closing in on the last clues to your ancestry. I cannot help but feel that the end is drawing near. This looks like the cave that the archaeologists are going to be excavating soon. If the information you obtained is correct, we should find some similar runes to the ones on your body, and in my friend's book. With the help of the translations in the book, we should be able to translate some of the runes. And perhaps from there, we will be able to determine our next step. We should hurry, though. Once the archaeologists get here, we will either be forced to leave or have to evict them by force. I confess, it has been a long time since I have traveled so much in so short a period of time. I am ill-accustomed to it. Perhaps I will just wait here and prepare a campsite for the two of us. You continue ahead and scout out the site. We should hurry, though. Once the archaeologists get here, we will either be forced to leave or have to evict them by force. Oh, I always do. And I thank you for your concern. back again so soon. I suppose that I should have expected you to encounter no difficulties down there. At any rate, I would like to apologize for my weakness earlier. I had forgotten how big the world outside of Cheydinhal and the Ehothorn estate really is. It is strange to me. In the past, I was fiercely independent, and proud of my independence. I enjoyed the company of others, yet I needed no one. Now, though, well, I guess that things change, and such change is unavoidable. Yet I am having trouble adapting to that change. I don't like the thought of having to rely on others in order to perform such simple tasks. Well, I'm glad that we got that out of the way. It has been bothering me since you left, and I was worried about broaching the subject with you. So, how did your venture into the deep mines go? Did you find anything of interest? Interesting. The entire composition of this mine seems to be made up of ruined buildings of a cyclopean architecture buried beneath the ground. Once, all of this was a city, and from what we have seen, I would presume to say that once it was a truly majestic place. Now, though, now it is merely ruins. Something terrible happened here long ago. Well, both you and I need rest, and as I'm sure you can see, I have prepared a rudimentary camp for the two of us. For now, I suggest that we sleep. Tomorrow, we'll see if we can acquire some mining equipment with which to continue our exploration. For now, sleep.
Thousand voices cry out in torment at the destruction I have unleashed. The streets run thick with the blood of the innocent. So much evil has been brought to the city of Armindale, and at last this bastion of holiness has crumbled beneath our weight. Yet, the voices of the dead, they haunt me endlessly. I can hear them screaming in my ears as if they were standing beside me. Men, women, children, guards, nobles, tanners, scholars, smiths. I have slaughtered every last one of them. By the gods, what have I done? Yes, of course. I have done as you required. I have done my duty and destroyed yet another enemy. Yet, at what cost? In the past, my opponents were all corrupt men, or men who were hated in one manner or another. Here in Armindale, though, my opponents are the innocent and helpless who call this place home. Here in Armindale, my opponents do not truly deserve to die. What have I done? Very well. I have listened to you all my life, and you have yet to lead me astray. Tell me, my friend, what task would you have me do? Burn it. Of course. A cleansing flame that will scour this fetid hole free of the corruption that has tainted it. We will topple its great spires, demolish its majestic buildings, and shatter its marble statues. Armindale will crumble as if into dust, and soon it will be forgotten. Only the memory of what I accomplished here will remain. I will never be forgotten in the pages of history. Once again, I thank you, my friend. You have performed a great service to me.
Thought that you were going to sleep all day. Well, now that you are awake, I have some good news for you. During the course of the night, I became restless and could not sleep. I wandered the caverns and found this ancient mining pick. Though it is rusty and well used, I would venture a guess that it is sturdy and will do the job we need of it. I suggest that you return to the deep mines and attempt to make your way past the rubble pile, while I stay here and make this camp more hospitable. I will be waiting here when you return. Just be careful. I may be mistaken, yet I would swear by the various gods that you have a question residing on the tip of your tongue. A question that you are dying to ask me, yet you are afraid to ask it. Well, speak up. We need to do something to cross this rift of awkwardness between us, and conversation is the best method. Ah, I was wondering how long it would be before you asked that question. Well, I guess that you deserve an answer, though I imagine that you may not like the answer I give you. Suffice to say that I am not entirely human. My long lifespan stems from my tainted blood. I would answer that, but I cannot help but feel that it would damage our relationship, so instead I will half answer it. You need to think of various creatures in Tamriel and outside of Tamriel that are blessed, or perhaps cursed, with a longer lifespan. For example, I once met a bounty hunter of sorts who was granted longevity due to his mixed parentage. Apparently he was related to some divine, omnipotent being, yet since his mother was a human, he only gained a few of his sire's abilities. My position is somewhat similar. My mixed nature has given me some unique abilities, yet not all of them. And of course, I am confined to this wretchedly ugly human form. You are kind to say it, and I thank you for the compliment, yet your words are far from truthful, at least from my perspective. Rest assured, my true form is far more magnificent to behold. You are welcome. As I said before, we need to bridge this rift between us, and by my reckoning, talking is the best way to do it. Who knows? Perhaps in time you and I may even come to trust one another, though I will admit that at the moment that is doubtful. We will talk later. Come, let us walk. From that self-satisfied smile I see on your face, I presume that your hunt went well today. Tell me, what did you find? Truly impressive. I can tell from the craftsmanship that back before this weapon was broken, it was a masterpiece, probably its maker's pride and joy. Its wielder loved it and cleaned it after every battle. Its edge was honed with a whetstone as often as possible, and it was treated as if it were priceless. When the wielder came to this place, he knew intimately that he would be sacrificing his blade in order to complete his task. Yet though his love for the enchanted weapon was great, his love for his cause was even greater. This weapon has a grand story to tell. Yet it is a story that you and I will investigate later. For now, we need to ensure that we use the time available to us before the archaeologists arrive. No, not now. No matter how valuable our time is, I will not allow you to forego rest, lest you become unwell. No, my friend, for now you will eat and you will rest. Do not fear, for I shall keep watch over you. You are safe with me to protect you. I am pleased to hear it, and glad to know that the bonds of trust are forming between us. One day soon you and I may truly become friends. However, that day is in the long, distant future. For now, you will rest. I will be here when you awaken. Well, I offer you my congratulations. It looks like you managed to keep up with me after all. I'm surprised. I did not know that you could run that fast. You should not say such things, especially if you don't really know what you are getting into. Come, follow me a bit further. I have something that I want to show you. Here we are. This is what I wanted to show you. Look out there. Look at that beauty, that perfection, that serenity. This place is so pleasant, so peaceful, so inviting. There is nothing like this where you and I are from. Our world is a place of ugliness and desolation, a world in decay. You and your flattery. You are a master at saying the right thing at the right time, at gauging what it is that people want to hear. You are confident in everything that you do. So much so that you do not even allow for the possibility of failure. I will confess that I find it charming, but your confidence will ultimately be your undoing. I have, and from what I have seen of the future, I can tell you that the omens for us are not good. Your confidence will be our undoing as much as it will be yours. And from what I have seen, I know that it is unavoidable. You will die. And yet, it is not necessarily your fate, because my prognostication did not end with your death. No, my love. There is a chance, albeit a slim chance, that what you and I share will not be entirely destroyed by your confidence. Listen closely, and I will tell you. Thank the gods you are awake. You tossed and turned all night, crying out in your sleep from time to time. I was beginning to worry. You know, your actions of late are starting to scare me. Sometimes you seem to be daydreaming, and nothing I say or do will draw you back to the real world. And then when you sleep, you cry out in anguish at whatever nightmares plague your moonlight hours. Surely some untold horror has begun to consume your life, and as your partner in this adventure and your friend, I think that you should tell me. If anyone else spoke of such dreams, I would merely dismiss them as being insane or delusional. But when you tell me of your dreams, there is a certain conviction in your voice that seems to go beyond mere delusions. To me, that means that either there is some truth behind your dreams, or else you have come to believe your own delusions. Either way, it is cause for concern. Well, I'm not exactly sure that you dreaming of me is a bad thing, but I did not realize that you thought of me in that way. I'm not too sure that now is the time for us to discuss such thoughts. You think it is more than just a dream because of how real it felt, or because it conjures forth a repressed memory from the past. Sometimes, if a dream is clouded by desire, the desire to experience it at length can make it feel more real than it is. Perhaps you were hoping that it was more than a dream, so much so that you deluded yourself into thinking that it was. Or perhaps I'm only saying that because I am hoping that you want it to be more than a mere dream. Of course I am right. Surely by now you have figured out that I am always right. Though I honestly believe that the issue demands immediate attention, I cannot help but feel that now is not the time to discuss it at length. We need to finish our work here, else we may lose that tie to your ancestry that resides here. Once we have left this place, then I think that it is just that you and I should have a very long talk.
my vast repertoire of knowledge, I suppose that I shouldn't be surprised to see you here. And yet, I still am. The fact that you managed to arrive here before my expedition is not what concerns me. But the fact that you have remained here unchecked for this long does. The gods know what you have been doing while I have been absent. If I find that you have done any damage to any of the artifacts here, rest assured you will regret it. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have a particularly enthralling piece of cyclopean architecture to catalog.
With these, archaeologists around, we aren't going to be able to get much work done here. And I doubt they will allow us to continue excavating the site without their permission. Thus, I think it is time we took our search elsewhere. The enchanted sword that you found earlier is the key, I believe. I have been thinking about it, and come to a conclusion. The enchantment placed upon it is one I have never seen before, so it must have been a specialist commission to have it performed. There is only one place that I can think of that takes specialist commissions like that, though it is through an unlikely source. There is a street peddler in the market district of the imperial city called Dacis, who will perform rare enchantments for a suitable price. If you take the weapon to him, he may well know who commissioned the enchantment, or at the very least, who else to talk to. I'll stay here and try and divert the archaeologists away from the new tunnel systems that you have unlocked. Return to me when you have followed the lead that the sword provides. Take care.
How are you? Welcome to the ruins of Armindale. All of this was once a great city that stretched for as far as the eye could see. Yet it fell to ruin at the hands of the General Cleon, the aptly named Butcher of Armindale. Would you perchance be interested in hearing the story of Armindale? Ah, it is good to see the young developing a keen interest in the history of our great nation. Well, some 200 years ago, the city of Armindale was one of the neutral cities in Tamriel. It was fortunate in that it was entirely self-sufficient, and all trading with neighboring towns was by choice alone. It was led by a lord who sat at the head of a council of representatives, all of which voted diplomatically on changes that would affect the city. In all reality, Armindale made no enemies, and thus had no reason to worry about any outside threats. Yet unfortunately for this great city, one of its neighboring towns was keen on expanding, and Armindale was its target. To make matters worse, the general who was placed in charge of the invading force was Cleon. Cleon the Butcher, a man who was reputed to be able to see into the minds of his opponents and second-guess their strategies. He marched his army to the city walls and began readying sophisticated siege equipment for a long siege. However, all of it was just a ploy, for while Armindale's eyes were on the siege equipment, Cleon had another plan in mind. Since he had first been ordered to take the city, the Butcher had sent hundreds of miners to begin excavating mines on the outskirts of Armindale. Following his orders, the miners excavated beneath the southern walls of the city, weakening them drastically. When the time to attack came, the Armindale militia refused to take it seriously, as the siege equipment was not manned. They simply watched as the ranks of attacking soldiers advanced on the city, thinking the attack to be a trick. Yet right as Cleon himself reached the south walls, the miners underground collapsed the tunnel system, and the walls followed suit. The entire southern wall crumbled into dust, and General Cleon's soldiers swarmed into the city. I'm sorry, am I boring you? Or would you like me to continue? As you wish. Now, due to the fact that every citizen of Armindale was a member of the city militia, regardless of their profession, and because every citizen had some minor military training in case of just such an occasion, General Cleon knew that he could not let any of the citizens live. Otherwise, they would band together and strike out. And so, his orders were simple. Kill everyone. Let no one in Armindale live. His soldiers were naturally bothered by such orders, as even professional soldiers do not like killing women and children. So Cleon himself led the charge into the city and slaughtered the first of the citizens of Armindale. The streets ran red with blood, and within hours, not a single citizen remained alive. Every last one of them had been butchered. And then strangely, completely without reason, General Cleon ordered his soldiers to burn the city to the ground. To this day, no one has managed to determine why he was ordered to do such a thing, as it made the entire attack pointless. Thus the city was set aflame and destroyed, and so the tale of Armindale comes to a close. I hope you found the story interesting, as it is one of the great tragedies of our time. And now, if you will excuse me, I have work to do.
So far, the archaeologists haven't found the section of the tunnels that you excavated, but it will not remain that way forever. Make haste to the enchanter in the Imperial City and follow the trail of clues that follows.
Hi there. Oh, hello. You need to stay alert. This place is not safe for the likes of you. Hello there. Oh, it's you. Looking for an axe or a mace?
Ah, I know a discerning eye when I see one. Tell me, what can I do for you today? Ah, yes. That is indeed a weapon that I am familiar with. I had been told that it had been destroyed during a conflict of sorts. Tell me, how did you come by it? Well, my friend, that is indeed an epic tale. Perhaps one day someone will commit it to song so that others may enjoy it as I have. Well, as it happens, I can still remember precisely who it was that I enchanted this weapon for. Furthermore, I still remember precisely where it was that he had last taken up residence. However, for me to tell you that information, you are going to need to part with some of your hard-earned gold. For you, since you were so kind as to share your story, the price will be 400 gold. All right, a deal is a deal. The man who commissioned the demon-slaying enchantment upon this blade is a hunter of sorts. He earned some moderate measure of fame when he used the blade to slay a demon that had been causing trouble on the outskirts of Bruma. From what I have heard, during the conflict, the hunter was forced to destroy the blade in order to slay the Fiend. His name is Maris, and he lives in a small house on the outskirts of Bruma. Here, I'll mark it for you on your map. If you are going to confront him for any reason, you'd best be leaving my name out of it. I don't imagine he'd be exactly pleased to learn that I sold him out to you.
Herbal keeps a lot of axes and maces. He seems to
Good day to you. I am Fintius the book dealer, and I know a discerning eye when I see one. What can I do for you today? Rare books are what you seek? Well, it just so happens that I do have one particular tome that I came across only recently. The book is entitled The Butcher of Armindale, and though I have had little time to study it, I have learned that it is a biography of sorts. It details the life of a man by the name of Cleon, who through his actions earned himself the title of the Butcher, a truly malevolent individual. It is a disturbing read, to say the least, but it might interest you. What do you say? I can sell it to you for a mere 1,000 gold? Here you are, my friend. Enjoy your new book. I'm sure you will find it a truly captivating read. My friend, back again so soon. Did you enjoy the book that you purchased? It is indeed, but you bought it how you saw it, and I'm afraid that I have no idea what has happened to the rest of the book. I purchased it from a comrade of mine at another book dealership. Perhaps he knows what happened to the rest of the book. His name is Kashan, and he can usually be found at Renoir's book dealership in Coral. If you do find him, be sure to tell him that I sent you. I do not doubt that he will assist you in finding the missing pages. When I read the book, I felt a feeling of dread well up within me, almost as if the very act of reading it was tainting my soul. I do not deny that I am a superstitious man, but the images that the scrawled words formed in my head were too haunting for me to endure again. In truth, I believe that the book is cursed. I wish you the best of luck, my friend. Safe travels to you.
Say it.
Hurry up!
What can I do for you? Have a look at my wares. I'm sure there's something to suit you. You got a great deal there. A pleasure to serve you. For the right price, I can make anything good as new. You too.
I hope you have a damn good reason for entering my home uninvited. So, you have the remnants of an enchanted blade. Good for you. Well, obviously, your informant was wrong. I've never seen the weapon in my life, and I have no desire to see it again. Now, leave my home before I make you leave. Speak quickly, then, before I lose my patience with you. Why do you need to know? So you know nothing of your ancestry, and thus nothing of who you are. I can think of 100 worse situations to be in. Let me give you one piece of advice before I send you on your way. This is a story I heard once, long ago. A man has forgotten who he is, and thus is cursed to wander the world without an identity. During the course of his journeys, he comes across a genie who says, "And what is your third wish?" The man is confused and asks, "My third wish, but what of my first and second wish?" "Well, your second wish was to have me undo your first wish," the genie replies with a pleasant smile. Never one to pass up an opportunity, the man decides to use the last wish to learn the answer to the only question that plagues him. "Tell me who I am, asks the man, to which the genie laughs uproariously. Funny, he says. That was your first wish. I'm sure you can see the point I'm making. Sometimes not knowing who you are is a blessing in disguise. Use this opportunity to invent your own history and to be the person who you want to be. Now, leave my home.
Good evening. No, this time you will not pass. I made the mistake of being lax in maintaining the secret location of this excavation site. I will not make the same mistake again. Your friend Alicia Ehothorn managed to sneak past me while I was cataloging one particular discovery, but you will not have that luxury. The door into the next section of the mine is locked, and only I have the key. You will not be going in there again anytime soon. Though my very being shudders at the thought of allowing it, I'm afraid that I cannot turn down any extra money. Truth to tell, the career of an archaeologist doesn't pay particularly well, and most of the time I'm living off rations. Very well, if you will pay me 500 gold, I'll let you pass. A deal is a deal. Here's the key. Just be sure not to damage anything. Oh, hello.
Thank the gods you are back. I cannot remember a time when I was more relieved to see someone than I am to see you now. So far, the archaeologists are yet to venture into this part of the caverns, so I have been able to ensure that this room remains undiscovered. But sooner or later they will work up the courage to excavate deeper, and so we must have completed our work before that time comes. Tell me, what did you learn from Dacis the Enchanter? So, Edward Pellew was involved after all. I had long suspected that he had been the instigator to my friend's downfall, but now I know for certain. It just seemed too convenient that he should seek you, and soon after, you would discover a clue leading you to me. Obviously, he and Maris the Hunter are working together once more, intent on finishing what they started. Our time is short. We need to learn all there is to learn here, and leave as quickly as possible. We need to learn how to unlock the door leading into the final section of the caverns. Well, as to the runic alphabet used on the Cyclopean architecture in this room, I can be of no help. But when I look at this contraption in the center, I cannot help but think of how much it reminds me of an ancient-styled sundial. Perhaps that can be of help to you? I'll do it. I just want to look like I'm taking an active part in this quest to find your ancestry. You tell me what button you want me to press, and I'll press it. I think that the seal on the door requires me to press another button. Which one do you think? Perhaps we need a third entry. Which one should I push? Well, that's it. 3 buttons pushed. Now we can only wait and see whether or not it worked. Now that we have a moment, perhaps we could continue our earlier discussion. I'm sure that you have a few other questions you'd like to ask me. An interesting question, to be sure, though the answer is much less exciting than one would expect. I left my place of origin 2 centuries ago. Or was it 3? You would be surprised how fast the centuries slip by. At any rate, my leaving was not so much a matter of choice, yet of necessity. Dare I say that I was chased out of my place of origin. I came to Tamriel, and naturally was immediately attracted to the Imperial City due to its rich, social appeal. Yet, one such as I could not stay in that place, because people would always ask questions, mostly due to my increased longevity. Thus, I left the majestic capital of Tamriel and sought out a secluded place to while away the years. I didn't, originally. That decision came later, after the death of my friend. At first, due to the fact that I had no money or influence in Tamriel, I was forced to make a living outside of the major cities. Thus, the old Ehothorn estate was constructed with the help of my friend on the outskirts of Cheydinhal, due to convenience. After the old estate was destroyed by fire, I began hunting for a new place to make my home. By chance, I came across an Argonian called Ruined Tale, who told me of quiet flowing rivers and pleasant bridges in Cheydinhal. He talked at length of the town, having stopped through it on the way from somewhere, and by the time we parted ways, he had me convinced. I traveled there, and spent the next 2 years establishing the new Ehothorn estate, and creating the masquerade of the Ehothorn family. Of course I was lonely. I am a socialite, after all, and I had been with my friend for a very long time. Losing him was hard enough, but being forced into isolation due to my longevity almost destroyed me. Every day became a struggle to find a reason to live, to find some purpose to justify getting out of bed and attending to whatever mundane tasks I had to perform. And yet somehow I struggled on. Perhaps it is because at my core, I am a survivor. I will fight on, despite insurmountable odds. To this day, I have no idea where I found the strength to survive. Looking back, I wonder if I could do it again. It frightens me because I know that once this is all over, you will leave, and I will be alone once again. I wonder, can I possibly return to such a state after having tasted the entertaining company of yourself? And just how is it that I need not be alone? Would you care to elaborate? You would stay with me in the Ehothorn estate? I am surprised that you would make such a suggestion, since you really don't know me all that well. Yet, I am grateful for the offer, and perhaps when all of this is over, I will readily take you up on it. I imagine that you and I would never run out of things to talk about, since we both have led such wildly different lives. Thank you for that. You have given me hope for the future, and something to look forward to once all of this is over. Great work. We have made it this far. Now we need only make it past the guards, and we will be home free. You take the lead and I'll watch your back. If you get into a fight, try to end it as soon as possible before the alarm is raised. All right, let's get going.
Huh? Who's there? Damn. What's that? Lost them.
Whoa! Oh! Yeah!
The best.
Well, those guards won't be bothering us anytime soon, but we still cannot afford to relax just yet. According to the building plans I stole from the architect of this place, what we are after lies just beyond these doors. Remember, we can't afford to be too selective. We must take the first one that suits the criteria. Race and gender is of no concern. However, the one you pick must have all of his motor functions. Okay, I'm ready. You open the door and I'll be right behind you. You had another waking dream again, didn't you? I can tell from the look of abject horror in your eyes. These dreams, they seem real to you, don't they? Well, perhaps there is more substance to the dreams than I had first thought. Perhaps that is our next clue to follow. You fainted upon seeing the contraption in the middle of this room. Tell me, can you describe what you saw in the dream? I can think of only one place that fits the description, but if memory serves, it was destroyed quite some time ago. There is an orphanage not too far out of Coral that once harbored many of the traits you mentioned from your dream. Yet some time ago, a fire gutted the building, and the deaths that followed prompted the ruler of Coral to close the place. Here, I'll mark it on your map. I think that it may be advantageous to your quest if we investigate the remains of the orphanage and try and learn what we can. Have you ever noticed that when you are bored, time seems to slow to a crawl? But when you are enjoying yourself, it passes, as if in a second. Well, truth to tell, the day is whiling away at a snail's pace. Let us see if a spot of conversation can help to speed it up. What can I tell you of him? Well, I suppose that I could tell you a great deal, yet you would not understand what I was saying. Suffice to say that he was a great deal like me. We bear a similar lineage, attitudes, and capabilities, and yet he was enticingly different. He was extremely confident. Some would call him arrogant, and he feared no opponent. He knew his capabilities intrinsically, and thus he knew that in a world of rules and bounds, he was boundless. He was opinionated, to be sure. At times he was cruel and ruthless, yet always he had a course of direction and a clear understanding of his goals. Your appearances are somewhat similar. Not precisely the same, yet there are certain aspects that are nearly identical. From a distance, one could easily confuse you two to be siblings of a sort. Yet up close, the differences become noticeable. Yet the main way in which you differ is your persona and the fact that your minds seem to work differently. My friend was both blessed and cursed by his confidence. It granted him no fear, yet it often led to him underestimating opponents. You, on the other hand, harbor a more calculating mind. You are still confident in most of your actions, yet you do not let it get the better of you. On top of that, you are not as opinionated as he was, nor as much a slave to habit. You are far more open-minded, willing to embrace new things and new experiences. He was not of that ilk. He was a creature of habit. It's strange how some aspects of you two are identical, and yet others are so drastically different. I find it unsettling. In truth, I am not sure, and even my speculations are both wild and unfounded. Perhaps you are him and have simply forgotten who you once were by some manner or another. Perhaps you share some distant lineage or relation of which I am unaware. Or perhaps it is merely a coincidence. What do you think? It is interesting that you should think that way, though we still have no real evidence to discount any of the possibilities. A thought occurs. Tell me, do you have memories of your childhood? Well, then we can discount the fact that you may have simply lost your memory. Because if you had lost your memory, you wouldn't have any memories of your childhood. Well, at least we have had one interesting revelation during the course of this conversation. It may not be exactly earth-shaking, but at least we are one step closer to finding out who you really are. Come, let us walk. We can talk again at a later date. You and I have shared some interesting experiences of late, though still, there are a great many secrets between us. Countless questions that remain unasked. Perhaps now is the time to ask them. Let us put all of our cards on the table, if only for a moment. Why, indeed? Now I'm afraid that that is a question that I cannot really answer. Not because I am trying to hide anything, but simply because I do not know why I am eager to help you. Tell me, from what you know of me thus far, why do you think I am eager to help you? Of course, the most obvious and, admittedly, quite likely answer to the question. Naturally, I am interested as to the reason why you remind me of my friend, and I know that by helping you, I can find closure in that regard. But there is more to it than that. I am also here because I am genuinely concerned, and the hunt for your ancestry intrigues me. And admittedly, because I miss socializing with people, my years of self-imposed isolation, in order to hide my longevity, has left me lonely. So now you see why I could not simply answer your question, because there is no clear-cut, obvious answer. What do I think is going to happen? Well, personally, I think that it is quite likely that we will find what you seek. Yet you will not like the answer. Since my time here in Tamriel, I have learned one thing about the mortal species as a whole. What sets the mortal mind apart is not its ability to comprehend the world around it, but its inability to correlate all its contents. For if the average mind were opened up to the terrifying vistas of reality, it would doubtless be pushed beyond breaking point. I think that what you may learn may force your concepts of reality across that breaking point, and from there, only your integrity will save you. Or perhaps I am merely in a pessimistic mood today, and in all reality, you will find what you seek, and nothing will go wrong. I think that that question is one that should be directed at you, since I imagine that it will be you who will determine any answer I would give. Yet, what I think is most likely to happen is that you will find the answer you seek. You will then find the answer unsatisfying, and you will then blame me for that fact. Why would you blame me? Because it is the nature of your species to blame someone other than yourself when things do not go your way. I believe that the answer you find will be unsatisfying for one reason or another, and you will find reason to attribute that to me. I don't want to discuss this anymore. Let's get moving.
I don't have time for you.
I sense that your quest is drawing rapidly to a close, which means that our partnership probably is as well. Come, my friend, let us travel to the remains of the orphanage. Together, you and I might as well make the most of the time we have left.
You may speak. It has been a long time before anyone came by here to do anything except loot the remains of this place. Somehow, I do not think that you are here for that reason. No, you have some other quest that you are pursuing. Me? Well, I am no one. At least not anymore. People around here call me the Caretaker, but my real name is Parmenus. Years ago, I was one of the guards that kept a watchful eye on this place. But after its closure, I found myself out of work. I was too old to continue my previous life as a mercenary, and so I decided instead to settle down in the remains of this orphanage. Since it was destroyed by fire, the officials in Coral couldn't care less who lives here now. Well, a number of bad tidings led to this place being closed. First of all, 2 thieves broke into the orphanage and stole, of all things, one of the children that lived here. The gods alone know what fate that youth suffered at the hands of those uncouth renegades. Soon after, there was a fire that gutted the building and resulted in the deaths of several guards and a dozen young children. The rulers of Coral decided that the ill reputation the orphanage had earned prevented it from fulfilling its intended purpose. And what with the growing decline in the number of children in the lands, they saw fit to close the orphanage and leave it to rot. Not a whole lot, I'm afraid. The whole night is a blur to me now. I remember that when the event was investigated, those in authority found its origins to be extremely strange. Apparently, someone threw some incendiary device through one of the windows, and the heat generated set this whole place ablaze. Other than that, I can't tell you much about the fire. I was actually drunk in a tavern in town on the night that it occurred. You are welcome. If you ever have any more questions for me, you know where I'll be.
Well, that was certainly an enlightening experience, wouldn't you agree? It might just be a coincidence. Yet the way that the caretaker described the fire reminds me a great deal of the old Ehothorn estate. That building was, as you know, destroyed by Edward Pellew and Maris the Hunter, and the way in which they burnt it was the same. The hunter threw an incendiary device through the window, and when it erupted, the entire building caught ablaze instantly. Perhaps Pellew and his gruff friend destroyed this place as well, for some reason or another. At any rate, I guess that the caretaker can consider himself lucky to be alive. He managed to avoid the 2 thieves who broke in through the roof and being burned alive in the fire. How do I know what? Well, I must have heard it somewhere. Perhaps, the caretaker mentioned it during his story. Or perhaps I had heard the tale from, someone else during the course of my travels. Very good. I am indeed surprised. I would not have expected you to find a fault in my act so soon. I'm not too sure that even my deceased friend, with his unsurmountable intellect, would have discovered it this quickly. I guess that the act is over, so there is no point in me continuing this charade any longer. No, I don't think that I will, because now is hardly the time or the place for such a revelation. But I will tell you soon, once we are both back in the room with the altar beneath the excavation site. Take me there now, and I will reveal everything to you, once and for all.
How are you? Busy, busy, busy. Even though you don't actually see me doing anything, rest assured I am extremely busy. Are you not feeling well?
Well then, this is it. The end of your journey. You and I have been through much, but now it is time to end it all. Now that you have had time to reflect upon our journey, I'm sure that you have noticed the many inconsistencies of my involvement. How did I know that you had to find your way to this room? How did I know the exact orphanage from your dream? Why was I so willing to help you despite knowing so little about you? Why was I willing to trust you? I will admit, when I first saw you, I truly did mistake you for my long-lost friend. But once I learned that you were not him, I knew precisely who, or rather what, it was that you were. I journeyed with you because I was hoping to learn more about what you had become, to find similarities to that which you came from, or more specifically to find differences to that aforementioned entity. Over time, I have learned that though you harbor many similarities, you are indeed different. You are not the same being. And now the time has come for you to learn the truth and to see what it was that has shaped your destiny in this way. Lie down on the altar. I will trigger the machinery, and at last, you will understand everything. I suggest you hurry. Now that Maris the Hunter knows that you are on his trail, he will undoubtedly be coming after you. He and that bastard, Pellew. Assuming the old dog is still alive, and they may well be here any time now. Depending on how much information you let slip during the course of your investigation, they may be here sooner than expected. I suggest that you hurry. Don't tell me that you are afraid to face your destiny.
And so, at last, you and I stand face to face, or at least the equivalent of such an interaction, being that I am, after all, dead. I know that you have questions, yet I am certain that by now, you know most of the answers I will give. Tell me, do you know who you are? In a way, that is true, though you are not truly me, but rather you are a reincarnation of me. A copy of my mind and my abilities, placed in another vessel, a different body. The mind that once occupied the vessel you now inhabit was forcibly removed and left writhing in agony as existence was ripped from it. And in the empty shell that remained, you were created from me. My beloved, you would know her as Elysia, prophesied that I would die due to my own overconfidence. Yet she also knew that there was a way for me to escape my fate and for the two of us to live forevermore. And that was through the completion of a ritual that we took from our charred homeland. A ritual that would essentially duplicate my persona and place it within an appropriately prepared vessel. Thus, my consciousness would be relocated to a new body, the body of a child that we would acquire. After her prophecy, we spent almost a year in preparation, recovering ancient texts, preparing the chamber beneath Armindale. We broke into an orphanage and stole a child that fulfilled our requirements, casting out their soul into the void. Yet Edward Pellew and his hunter companion tracked us down before our work could be complete. And in the conflict that ensued, I was burned alive before we could complete the transfer. But Alicia knew that all was not lost. She had the replacement body, and she had the copy of my persona. She returned to the chamber to complete the transfer, yet before the entire transfer could be completed, she was interrupted. Pellew and Maris were back, and after a brief exchange, Alicia was forced to flee the caverns, leaving you behind. Thus, you were brought into existence, a new vessel, partially occupied by my persona, but free of the constraints of my memories. The gods alone know how it was that you escaped the chamber, and how you found yourself into the care of your parents. Yet somehow, despite all the odds, you survived and became the being that you are today. I was a praetor within the ranks of the Horde in Oblivion, a strategos, a tactician. To this day, historians have wondered how it was that Cleon gained his seemingly unnatural ability to second-guess his opponents. How was it possible that an uneducated farmer came to be the most malevolent, most undefeatable general who walked Tamriel? The reason behind that is because I was whispering in his ear the whole time. I am the beast that rode Cleon's back. I was the one who pushed him across the mountains of madness and into the realms of true infamy. And all of it was done in service of my masters. Thus was I tasked with ensuing chaos within Tamriel. I am the voice of insanity that fills mortal ears. I am the demon inside that unleashes the animal caged within. I am the primal side of a mortal's nature, because it is within my office to be such a thing. And I am here because of you. I am here because a task previously was left uncompleted, but now shall be completed. The void between the two of us shall vanish. We will become one and the same. No, you are not like me. Differences have emerged, and somewhere along the way, you have developed the primitive notion of morals and honor. Yet, that will change. What was undone will be done once again. You and I will merge consciences once and for all. And all will be as it should have been. Run fast, for I so love the hunt, and woe betide what shall become of you if I catch you.
did an efficient job of avoiding me. But I'm afraid it was all for naught. We were in the process of cutting important limbs off that bitch Coral, and were working our way to eliminating her once and for all. Yet it would appear that I have made a similar mistake as I did once before, by parleying with that creature instead of just killing her. Yet even though she still lives, she's of no concern at the moment, because you and I have some unfinished business to attend to first. That was her true fiendish name, as I discovered from our last confrontation. Surely you have read the children's stories. Though they are elaborated at length, there is some truth to them. My abilities stem from my command over names, and during our last encounter, I learned hers, by force. However, unlike the story, which claims that I slew Coral, in reality she fled before I could cut her down. One of the objectives I made before setting out here was to rectify that mistake, so that I would no longer be haunted by it. Now, I have one last mistake to rectify. How long have I known who you were? Well, I suspected as much when I first met you. That is, of course, why I opted to meet you, in order to experience the similarities to my nemesis in person. I knew the race and gender of the infant that your pre-incarnation stole, and spent years tracking down where you had escaped to. A wife and 2 children have died due to my neglect, caused by my relentless, obsessive, compulsive hunt to find you. And when we first spoke, I knew what you were. I could feel it. I could taste it. I admit that I took an enormous chance by instigating our initial brief confrontation, but I simply had to know for certain. Because the most defining mannerism your pre-incarnation harbored was his fighting skill. You fought just like him. Yet I could tell that you did not know what you were, and it would be far from honorable to confront you without you having that knowledge. Thus, I provided the necessary information to set you about your quest to learn yourself, knowing that in time, it would all come back to you. And so, I succeeded in that regard. You now know precisely what you are the reincarnation of, and why you deserve to die. Thus, it is time to finish what we started all those years ago. At last, you will die by Edward Pellew's hand. Of course you are my enemy. You have always been my enemy. In all the years that I was hunting you, I knew that I would find you. I knew that I would make you suffer for all of your crimes, for all the blood you have spilled. Cleon the Butcher died at the hands of a nobody in a back alley, thus preventing me from ever finding revenge upon his flesh. But I have found a more prominent target, the very demon that drove him to do what he did. Thus I will slay the king, rather than a measly pawn. I knew him in a way you can never imagine. I devoted whole portions of my life to his study, his hunt, and his elimination. I knew everything about him. I knew his mannerisms, his thought patterns, his instincts, and his habits. I knew him better than he knew himself, better than you know yourself. You are right. He would not have offered a truce, even if he were facing undeniable defeat. He was a proud creature, arrogant and overconfident. He would rather die than admit defeat. I will admit that you are not like him, though you share many of his similarities. You have changed. You are right. You are nothing like him. Never in 1,000 years would he ever have said the words that you spoke mere moments ago. And to the same extent, I never imagined that his reincarnation, however incomplete a copy it may be, would ever differ from him in so great a way. You are not my enemy. I know that now. Though it pains me to say this, I will not fight you, and neither will Maris. My quest to hunt you and your predecessor, and Kurl, has consumed my entire life. Though I am a half-celestial, the curtain is closing on my life. Soon my time will be up, and I will join the countless villains that I've sent into the next realm. Once, a long time ago, I did a single good deed that labeled me a hero throughout history, yet I fell from that lofty perch a long time ago. I sunk into the realms of obsession and threw away great boons that I never truly appreciated. My wife and 2 sons lie buried on the roadside. Yet, at last, I've performed another deed as great, if not greater, than my previous great deed. In letting you live, I feel that I have benefited all. Here, take this as means of consolation for the pain I've caused you, and to aid you in your future ventures for the good of Tamriel. May my sword and my gold serve you well.
Edward Pellew has taken a great chance in allowing you to leave and placing a lot of trust in you. I am not entirely sure his move is a smart one. Yet I will not countermand his instructions to allow you to leave this place freely, and I admit that I understand his reasoning to some extent. Do not destroy the trust he and I have placed in you. Go into Tamriel and do good deeds. Sell your sword if necessary, but only to worthy bidders. Here, perhaps my bow can aid you. Take it and use it to rain fiery death upon all of those that seek to do ill. Use it well, and use it justly.
I know that you probably have 100 questions that you wish to ask of me, but I'm afraid that I'm not yet ready to answer them. In time, perhaps. But for now, I think it is best if I put aside all the darkness that has clouded my past and focus on what time I have left. As I reflect on all that has happened, I cannot help but feel that as the curtain closes on the play that was my life, I have left countless chapters left unopened. Yet, I think that perhaps only tragedies remain locked inside. Thus, I think that perhaps I should visit the graves of my family and pay them the respects that I never did in life. Should we meet again, I will tell you what you wish to know. For now, though, I bid that you take care.
Stop! Go no further. I cannot let this abomination that you have become go on living. Oh, yes, you are like him. A great deal like him. Yet I know now that you are not him. You are different. A perversion of him. And yet you have managed to surpass him in so many ways. I cannot allow that.
I cannot allow his memory to be spoiled. I cannot allow you to become more than he became. No, I will kill you. I will cut you down and leave only a memory in your wake. You have grown fast, so much faster than we both expected. You move fast too, faster than he ever did. So many memories, so many haunting thoughts that were once dear to me and are now nothing short of a nightmare, personified every time I see you. I know now that you harbor so many of his memories, and yet you bring them to life through your own distinct persona. You are the epitome of everything I once loved and could love, but can never love. You are an abomination, a spawn from my fire-scorched home, where ugliness is abundant and dreams die. Everything that I ever did, all the atrocities that I committed, all of them were for you, for your pre-incarnation. I gave up everything for him, and yet when I faced Maris and Pellew in the throne room here, whilst trying to bring him back to life, I realized that all that I had sacrificed had been for naught. I realized that I valued my own survival more than I valued us being together. It was on that day when I gave up all hope of ever being happy again, of ever finding true companionship again. But then you came along, and everything changed. The future has always seemed so dark and foreboding. Somehow, despite all my prophecies to the contrary, I never expected to be happy again. Yet, with you, I feel that such a thing is possible. Perhaps there is a glimmer of light amidst all the darkness, guiding my way, our way. I have so much to say, so much that I want to say, yet I cannot seem to find the words. I think that perhaps you know precisely what drove me to do what I did, to lie to you, to deceive you in such a way. Tell me, can you ever forgive me? I scarcely know what to say. To have you forgive me after I betrayed you in such a way, such a concept is unfamiliar to me. But I need something else from you. Something more. Something so valuable that I am almost afraid to ask the question, for fear of the answer. Yet I must ask, or go insane at the wondering. Tell me, can you ever love me?
I guess that deep down I never expected that would be your answer. I just didn't want to accept it. Time changes all things. Old wounds can be healed, even as long-dead romances can be rekindled. And time is something that both you and I have, because I have a small secret to confide in you. Edward Pellew was blessed with longevity because of his celestial heritage, and likewise I share the same fate from my fiendish ancestry. And you, a hybrid of mortal and fiend, will be granted a similar blessing and will doubtless live far longer than any mortal would. Well, unless, of course, you pick a fight that you cannot win and someone slides a blade through your ribs. But failing that, I imagine that you will live an extremely long and very rich life. And because you are not cursed by your heritage, you will live it however you wish. I am honored to have been given the opportunity to spend my life with you and to share in your experiences. Together, I imagine that we will accomplish quite a bit. Or perhaps we will accomplish nothing and merely while away the years. The Ehothorn estate is yours now. Retire to it when you wish, or sell it should such please you. But please, please, take me with you wherever it is that you go.